Hi, I'm Robin Marche, and we're here at beautiful Eco Village Maitreya in Eugene, Oregon. And today we'll be making some oil, showing people how to make oil in their own kitchen, basically. We'll be using a little press called a Petiba. It's a little tiny thing, comes in a little yellow envelope when it comes to you. It only runs about 150 bucks. If a dozen people go in, it might come down to 100, 110 bucks each. But it's a little oil press called, again, the Petiba, P-I-T-E-B-A. You can go online on YouTube and see the Petiba work with a bunch of different things. We take the process to a different level. We germinate, activate the seeds, and it increases the vitality, the enzymes, pardon my French, the healing abilities of the oils. And also, when we did it to sunflower seeds and we germinated it or activated it, it increased the volume that we received from the sunflower seeds by as much as 22% more. Okay, and this is a little bit of the paperwork on the Petiba, a little bit of the pictures. They give you an assembly page and a little bit of instructions. And that's the paperwork, kind of comes with it. As we move over this way, this is the Petiba. So again, it's a little tiny thing. And again, it comes in a little yellow envelope when it comes to you. This is an oil lamp. I mix in a little bit of olive oil to blend down the amount of heat or fume or whatever might be there. And the heat is to allow the press to exit through here. The heat does not affect the temperature of the oil. And in some cases they'll actually use the heat to start it. Then they say to shut the heat down, but I haven't got to those stages. I usually just leave the heat on and allow it to remove. And so they don't send you a thing. You could just make it. They encourage you to simply just make it from like a liter bottle or 2-liter bottle, and you cut it off, and it happens to work pretty good. And I use a little square thing like this, and usually a rubber band, but wire works. Rubber band on this. And that's kind of it. This particular piece, they say, put it on, and then go around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then to start with this open, and then there's 2 little holes here. 2 little holes here, so you can see them. And they say to start with it open and then close it off after it gets started. And that's kind of it. Usually it's kind of like a regular, even a juicer, a hand juicer. You'll usually get oil or juice that comes out in the end first, and then it clogs up, and then it starts to come down. And the oil will release through this little slit. Sometimes the slit gets caked a little bit, so I keep a knife on hand to just simply do that. And that's kind of that. So we have some germinated sunflower over here. Some regular sunflower in hand. This is the germinated sunflower. And with this, it'll have a high content of oil because it's been activated. Let me get this warmed up for just a few moments. And then sometimes you have to adjust your flame depending on fumes and so forth. Sometimes I like to keep it in an amount where you could shake it, because if it starts to jam here, it makes it kind of simple. Our table's kind of loose here, so it helps it to knock it down anyway. I put the 3rd bolt in, but the hole's so large it'll still have play. What time is it, please? It's on the stove there too. Okay. Oh, he's got it.
9:35.
Thank you. 9:35. Just to catch the first oil, I guess.
Seeds are jammed.
Thank you. Good eye. And I'm turning nice and slow. We found that sometimes when you turn faster or too fast, it challenges it. It doesn't let it catch. So you can see the oil coming out of the end first, and then it'll fill up the mill, press, and then it'll start to come down here. Nice pinch. Let's turn you down. You're there. Okay. Let's just get this out of the way. Go for action. And what I'm doing here is closing down these two holes so we get more oil coming out the other side and less coming out with the press. It'll hit a certain amount of times and it'll go back to stream. When you're fortunate, it'll hit about 4 or 5 streams in a row. Ready to feed more seed.
There's a good rhythm. That's where you have to stop and put more seed in.
Yeah.
Did you try the sunflower seeds after you sprouted them?
And this can be hooked to a bicycle.
That'd be awesome.
In fact, I realized this is almost a foot pedal in itself.
Yeah.
Got a chair. Anybody else like to? Would you like to come in and do it?
Sure.
And when I first started doing this, asking around, you know, who knew people who made oil, I learned very quickly that very few people knew anybody that made oil, unless it was like, you know, commercial or big, you know, big amounts of some kind. And the first thing they told me is you have to have a $35,000 cold press to make your own almond oil. That's what they told me. And same thing for jojoba oil. But, when we did the germination process,
Seeds are jammed.
when we did the germination process or the activation process, even to the jojoba, it made it so that it was like the almond, that you could do it with a $2 hand grinder, let alone a Pativa. But with all the little quirks and little things that you work out with a Pativa and a little bit of strength that you put into it, when you have your own oil like that, especially these activated, living, enzyme-rich oils for your family and your children, there's any more questions, that's kind of it in a nutshell, no pun intended. Well, I gotta stop saying that. But, and so that's sunflower seed. We've done almond at other times, and a few others from pistachio to Brazil nut. Brazils are so loaded with oil. And that's it clarified. So it's a tiny amount of sediment. And now, if I were to put this in the refrigerator, even probably in 3, 4, 5, maybe 7, 8 days, depending on the temperature, because no two refrigerators are the same, the flavors will start to change the oil. But if I take the top off, it stays so long. I've had it stay for at least a month or two without refrigeration in a dark area. So this was simply in a bag. That's all I did to darken it. Here's this. Let's take this guy. Do this for now so you can see what we've done in our, 10, 12 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. There's barely any sediment in this particular batch. We were almost no sediment whatsoever. And this will still filter. It's usually a lot darker if you got more sediment.